Hello, everybody, and welcome to Portsmouth This Week. I'm your host, Bob Poniatowski, sitting in for Doug Smith as we talk about education once again. And we're very pleased to welcome to our program this week the Director of Student Support Services and Guidance at the Portsmouth High School. He is Mike Monahan. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Good. I'm glad you gladden my heart with the work that you do. Tell us a bit, Mike, about your background and experience as you come to Portsmouth.
Well, out of college, I did some coaching. I was a hockey player and really loved the sport and wasn't sure what I was going to pursue. I actually got a business degree at Skidmore College in upstate New York. Coaching was something I really enjoyed doing, and what I didn't anticipate was that I was really going to enjoy working with the kids. You know, I went into it for the sport, but I liked the relationships I made with not only the kids but their parents, and that really sent me down a pathway that I didn't expect. I moved back from upstate New York to the Boston area where I grew up, and went to Salem State College and got my counseling degree. And I did some more coaching, and I got a job in Boston at the jail, where I taught GED classes. And again, it sort of broadened my horizons, realizing that these older kids who made some really bad decisions weren't all bad, and they did enjoy learning. And when I made connections and saw them excel, I got further interested in education, and I got a job coaching at Salve Regina University for their men's hockey team, and I got a guidance counseling job at Mount Hope High School in Bristol back in 2002. And then I've worked my way into administration, where I'm now at Portsmouth High School, the Director of Guidance and Student Support Services. Interesting
Career path you've traveled, and all the pieces that fit together, and I think you're where you want to be now, I guess, right?
Yeah, I really like it. There's a lot I miss about, when I was a guidance counselor, where I was, more hands-on with the students. I don't have as much of that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I do my best to give the counselors, the time and the resources that they need to do their job well, and hopefully that, makes a bigger impact.
Well, as a manager, supervisor of a department, I'm sure that your staff is very much aware that you were a counselor and you did work with kids, and so now you're just in a different position. That's not always the case. Sometimes people who come from a business area have no education and just go into the situation. Well, I ramble. What is the main function or mission of guidance and support services in the high school setting, and in particular at Portsmouth High School?
Well, we are focused on providing academic, social, emotional, and career-related supports for our students. Really giving the support that students need so that they can focus on learning. So and that goes into all functions of the school. We work with all kinds of issues that students have during their 4 years, and there are many. We work with teacher-student issues, parent-student issues. We do a lot of scheduling work, and then we have a comprehensive guidance program that we provide for the students to sort of proactively help them think about what they might want to do in the future, and ultimately how they're going to get there.
It's a huge job, and I don't know if our viewers and listeners appreciate what you're dealing with. It's not as simple as a subject matter teacher who has a given discipline and is instructing in that, but you're doing the holistic thing. You're looking at the big picture, and students are, yes, academically, but they're also socially and emotionally, and all these things come to roost in the matter of learning. So how do you do it?
Well, I think we can all remember our high school days and our teenage years, and it's a tough time that not many of us would like to go back to, because it's confusing and there's a lot of challenges and a lot of tough decisions that students are making for the first time.
That's right.
The thing about guidance is that a lot of what we do is relatively confidential, so it's hard to really promote what's going on. You know, there's a lot of challenges that come your way while you're in high school. Kids get injured, they get sick, they have issues with anxiety and sometimes bouts of depression and you know, social problems with friends and girlfriends and boyfriends that it all gets in the way of the learning environment, and they often turn to us, at least in part, to help them through that. And as much as we try to take a systematic approach, you know, every case is a little different, and every personality is a little different, and people are at different phases of being ready to tackle the problems that come their way.
Readiness, yeah.
You know, and parents don't always agree, and you know, so there's a lot of figuring out where the family is, where the students are, and where they want to go, and how to help them to make some good choices and get there.
You bring a certain perspective and a viewpoint that is necessary in this chaos that adolescents go through. How is your department organized? How many counselors do you have? How are they deployed, and what kinds of duties do they have? So
we have four school counselors. Each of them has a caseload, which is an alphabetical cross-section of grades 9 through 12 students. We do that mainly because we want every year for the counselors to be writing college recommendations and also doing transition from 8th to 9th grade and everything in between, so you don't get rusty or forget about, you know, what's entailed, and you don't have too big a load. If you follow a class from 9th through 12th grade, when they get to 12th grade, you'll have a substantial number of recommendations, and it might take away from your ability to write good college recommendations, for example.
Do they stay with the same youngsters?
They stay with those same students 9 through 12. You know, so they'll have 60 to 80 students per grade level.
That's a good arrangement, because it gives the counselor a chance to see growth and insight and development and so forth.
Yeah, and we make some effort to get to know them. We've added some programming to help us to get to know the 8th graders as they get ready to make a big step. The transition from 8th to 9th grade is huge. There are a lot of questions. There's a lot more independence. They have a lot more teachers in high school. They have a lot more freedom. You know, the single file lines start to disappear at the high school level. And
I remember. Oh, yes. But one of the things that you must be involved in a great deal is the whole matter of academic planning, specifically, I guess, sometime in the spring, or maybe it's even earlier. You have to sit down with your counselors and develop a course of study, and what courses and what programs and what levels, so that students are know what they're going to take, and then you have to make it all work. Talk about that.
Yeah, it's ever changing. For example, when Superintendent Riley came on board, she provided us with a great program that we'd been considering for years. She provided the funding for Naviance, which has given us an online tool that we can share with the families, and we're finishing up year 2 here with that and getting better at it. It's taken a lot of
How does it work? How does, for our viewers out there, what Naviance sounds very exotic and
yes.
French.
It's been around for a while. It's a platform that does everything from document management to college and career planning. It helps students to take a series of assessments and surveys and it compiles all the information to give us data about what our students as a group are interested in, what they're good at, what they need work on, things like that. It helps them to select courses and to think about career opportunities. And then it helps us to manage things like college representatives who visit. Students can sign up through Naviance online. They can look at their grade point average. They can look at students who have graduated from Portsmouth in the past where they went to school, not the specific students, but you can look at a scatter plot of their grade point averages and their SAT scores, for example, and whether they got accepted to a certain school or not. So it gives you a lot more data that you would never have otherwise.
What I like about that program, and I know little of it, in fact, I know nothing of it, but what I like about it is that it focuses on the student being responsible to get information and look at data and internalize it instead of just coming into the counselor and saying, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it puts
and sorry to cut you off.
No, that's all right.
The real challenge is that, you get this information, you get a series of career paths based on what you answered. Students may quickly get turned off when they see I'd make a good tour guide, maybe, for example, or something that they never thought about. The skill is in the counselor having the conversation to say, don't get stuck on that profession. Think about what those skills are behind that profession and what transferable skills you might have.
Yeah.
Getting them to think more holistically like that is the key. And sometimes they're not ready to think about that for a number of reasons.
No, I understand that. That's a good point, Mike, that those devices get obsolete so quickly and old unless they're updated constantly, but youngsters tend to, in their view, dwell on the tour guide, and what you need and what you pointed out is what's behind tour guide. You need to like people, you need to have a facility with language. Well, you can take that and apply it to other things like host of a TV show.
Sure. Yeah, sports broadcaster, things that they might be more interested in, and to help them to understand that there are core components to almost all jobs, which are reading skills, writing skills, reasoning skills, the ability to troubleshoot. And that's what we're partnering with all the teachers in the building to help support and to help the students be more interested in their subjects, because to help them find the relevance that will make them work hard and lead them down a road that has a lot of opportunities.
Yes, indeed. Now, in addition to academic planning, you offer a number of opportunities in the summer for students to extend their education and experiences. You want to talk about your internship programs and your other things that are available?
Yeah, so as far as internships, we're more of a facilitator. There are dozens and dozens of area colleges and around the nation that offer summer programs. We compile lists of those opportunities and what credentials they're looking for and what they're trying to develop in those programs. In recent years, we've partnered with Raytheon, and we've done a program where they've offered a few internships, as well as with the Naval Undersea Warfare Program, where they've taken up to 10 or 15 of our students and run them through a robotics program, giving them some great opportunities that may lead down toward some kind of pre-engineering program that they might get involved in. More recently, we've gotten approval for some career technical education programs. In the past, down by Rogers, the Newport Area Career Tech Center hosted all of those programs. Now, the state's opened up to allow individual schools to have their own programs and get funding for them, and allow for students to apply and come to Portsmouth High School to take advantage of these programs. Right now, we are approved for early childhood development and television studio. so students
Oh, I
can
saw
come.
that in the paper, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Local, students from anywhere in the state where they don't have access to those programs could do that. And we're working on an engineering program that we're really excited about. We think it's going to lead to lots of opportunities and opportunities for students who, maybe in neighboring schools, they might want to try Portsmouth because we have that. So, what the, in the long term, we're going to work with the many. I might as well throw a plug since I'm on television. We're looking to
Go for
find
it.
some internship opportunities out there, where a student could work for a few weeks and get an idea of what that career path is like. We also have lots of guest speakers who come in. We have something called Pride Block that meets once a week for 30 minutes, and you can sign up to get extra help with your teacher. But for those students who, they're doing well, they don't need the extra help so much, we try to provide, computer programmers and engineers and different folks from career paths who live locally who want to impart their knowledge on our students, and that's been working really well.
It's so important, I think, as a previous educator and maybe an educator for life, that there's a link between schooling, learning, and the real world. And by you having internship programs and speakers, there's a perfect marriage there. The community get a chance to come into the school and see what you're doing, and likewise the kids can go out to the world and see what's out there and what it looks like, and even the robotics or one of those things sort of get wet all over, as they say. Talk about the collaboration and coordination. Your title is the Student Support Services, so you're a man for all seasons. You intersect with so many areas in the school and out of the school. You want to talk about that a bit?
Well, so in the umbrella of student support services, we have a school social worker, a school psychologist, the school nurse plays a pretty big role in all of this.
You even have a policeman, right?
We have a school resource officer who we work with regularly, and the assistant principals obviously handle the discipline side and some of the curriculum as well. We have an RTI coordinator. Response to Intervention is a program where we try to catch students who are struggling and try some interventions to see if we can help them out or figure out if there's an underlying issue that hasn't been detected yet where they need some specialized services like special education. And then, in those cases, we'd assign a case manager and create some accommodations to help them out and support everybody appropriately. So there's a lot of overlap where the counselors are usually that hub where they first detect the issue, and they're charged with recognizing if it's something that they can work with or if we need somebody with more specialized skills or the time to focus on outreach into referrals into the community for programs and things. So we're constantly recalibrating and meeting weekly, all of that big group that I just mentioned, and we're making sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes, that we're not overburdening one resource over another, re-clarifying who does what, because it gets very confusing, and the whole way, it's hard to let go of a child that you're trying to support and help and say, okay, now this person's going to take care of you. You get invested and you don't want to let go, and so it's just a lot of hard work, and there's a ton of emotion tied to it, which makes it difficult to keep the clarity and use the resources wisely.
Sounds a bit, as you're speaking, I'm thinking of the medical general practitioner and the specialist, and the practitioner is looking at the whole situation, but where there are special needs tend to make the referral, so you get the same sort of dynamic, I think. I just made that up.
Well, no, the medical model is, a very high-tech, advanced version of what we're doing, really. You know, now these days they come in with a computer. They punch in every single thing that they do, so it's all in one place. And schools aren't accustomed to that. And a lot of times, kids are working with many different agents
maybe
of the
that day
school.
will come, and then you'll have more paperwork, more things to put into the hopper. You know, there's so much. I listen to the radio a great deal, and I'm just so much aware there's so much problem in society, the opioids and all the people and so forth. And so you must find that you need to do a lot of prevention and awareness in the high school, because that's out there, and so you need to get to them. What kinds of things do you provide for students who might be disposed to, you know, escaping the drudgery with drugs and substance abuse?
We have a student assistance counselor, and she focuses on those types of issues. That she's looking to prevent, she's looking to support those who maybe have a parent who's suffering from addiction, or maybe they themselves are. Friends of students who are having problems. She does a lot of that and develops programming to, you know, help in a more large-scale fashion and make students think and hopefully make good choices and know that they have supports out there. We've done a lot of surveying to try and get a feel for, you know, what the substance abuse issues are in the community and in the school.
It's in the paper recently with the police and well, it makes the headlines, and it's very much in today's societal milieu. Forgive me for the French again. Now, I'm interested also in your outreach to the community. Sort of interesting for a parent to parent-teacher night, to go to the English teacher and the math teacher and so forth and so on. What kinds of things does the guidance department do to outreach to parents and community members? Do you have a formal program?
Yeah, so during those parent-teacher conferences, we're always there. A lot of parents will make appointments or stop by in between their appointments with teachers to touch base or to bring concerns to us. Annually, we'll have a financial aid night for the seniors and senior parents. We do a junior college and post-secondary planning night later on in the spring. And we've started a number of other things. One that we've begun this year it's called Guidance 411, where we're having parents invited into the school to have like a coffee with the counselors, and there'll be a focal point, like learning how to use Naviance was one. We're looking to have one for the parents of 8th graders. They can come in and ask questions to the counselors, and we'll go over some important transitional points. We're also going to do an 8th grade parent night toward the end of the school year. We're only going to be able to see some parents, but we wanted to give them, 10 or 15 minutes with the counselor if they have concerns, want to ask some specific questions. So,
opportunity.
Yeah, just it's important because the role of the counselor becomes a little bit different from elementary and middle to high school. There are specific things that we will do that they've never done before. So we need to help them to understand how to use us best.
Yeah, it's as a high school teacher and administrator myself, I was always amused that the freshmen, I'm in high school, la 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 la. All of a sudden I'm a senior and they're going to throw me out. The golden days are over. Am I ready? I'm not ready. And that takes support and so forth. What about assessment? That's such a big thing today with the so-called PARC tests, and you got the SATs and the Merit Scholar and so forth. Talk a bit about the assessing function.
It's an ever-changing model what we do for assessments, there are the state assessments. Most recently, we did Park in April, a little bit into this month. That's where our freshmen are mostly freshmen are taking ELA 9 and mathematics testing for the state, and that's where we get our school report card. We have some other tests that we provide for our assessments. The STAR assessment helps 9th, 10th, and 11th graders to, it helps us to monitor their progress and to monitor our progress as teachers to make sure, we're doing what we need to do and meeting benchmarks and helping them to meet benchmarks. We have the kneecap science. This is the last year actually for Park and kneecap science, where we're actually very excited because the PSAT and the SAT, two tests that students and families are really interested in, are going to be those tests that satisfy the state mandate, but also are productive and useful for the students, and they're going to give us a lot of information about how our students are doing. So it's a win-win. This year we had over 90% participation statewide, and it wasn't mandatory. So I think if we're able to make a real effort, we'll get close to 100% to participate, which then the data is real. You can look at it and really learn from it, and the kids are getting a free test where they would have had to pay $40 for on a Saturday. They get to do it during school.
Well, it's a data-driven society and schools, so it's useful you get that information. As we begin to wind down here, I was kind of curious what you find your biggest challenges are. You've been in the field for a while now, and the nice thing about working in that field is it's ever changing and challenging. What's been the challenge lately?
I think that the drama that occurs now and the way that information spreads through social media leads to a lot of challenges for these kids. It used to be you found out your information in the lunchroom. Now, all day long, students are passing information, and there's almost no way to stop it. So, and the students seem to be fearless in what they are willing to post, and it makes it very difficult to deal with the anxiety, the depression, and the things that students struggle with.
That's an interesting insight. I think almost daily I read something in the paper or see on TV that some parent is suing such and such something that was said on the social, on Facebook or one of those things that has created a trauma and a big problem. So of course that comes down to you. Well, I appreciate the work that you do, having done some of it myself, and I know it's a handful, and I hope that the viewers out there are enlightened as to what the Department of Student Support and Guidance at Portsmouth High School do. Mike, thanks a lot for being on the program. It's been a delight to be updated on what's happening. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
And that's it for Portsmouth this week. I'll see you next time.